Coco Gauff's coach has noticed a dramatic change in Carlos Alcaraz after seeing him play junior tennis. Alcaraz turned professional in 2018, and has since gone on to claim 24 ATP titles along with that number 1 world ranking. 8 of those titles have arrived this season alone, with further success possible at the ATP finals next month. Aged just 22, the Spaniard is a 6-time Grand Slam champion, and is rapidly closing in on 300 professional wins. Coco Gauff's coach has noticed a dramatic change in Carlos Alcaraz from junior level. According to Gavin McMillan, who is currently coaching WTA star Coco Gauff, Alcaraz's prowess was evident from an early stage. Offering advice for junior players, biomechanics expert McMillan said on Tennis Channel, "If you have any types of holes in your game, especially in the men, they are just going to keep feeding it until you crack. I really think it's important that on a daily basis you have direct practice with youngsters. Because if you don't develop the skills like heavy ground strokes off the ground, a heavy serve that can hit spots, and if you don't develop athletically, how are you going to achieve this? It's just a pipe dream. You can't even talk about tactics until you get skills involved. If you can't hit basic shots and keep them in the court, how are you going to have somebody great tactically as a coach really help you until you can execute it? I think for kids it's 100% skill development, not your ranking or what you are winning. At 14, who cares? I mean, look back now at Alcaraz, and he played Brandon Nakashima on clay. I think it was 4 years ago, and Brandon I think served for the match. I thought he was really good. But the difference in improvements he has made from then to now is dramatic. Physically, serve, forehand, everything. But at 14, when you saw, you could see signs of this. He was hitting drop shots back then. He was bouncing around, light on his feet. He is a phenomenal athlete. And this game is getting tighter and tighter in terms of room for skills that you don't have. How has Carlos Alcaraz's ATP ranking changed since he turned pro? The match in question was a second-round tie between Alcaraz and Nakashima at the Oeiras 3 Challenger 125 in 2021. Losing the first set to the American, the Spaniard came from behind to secure an impressive 3-6, 6-4, 6-4 win. The duo were reunited later that year at the next-gen ATP Finals and indeed at last month's Japan Open, with Alcaraz winning on both occasions. The Spanish superstar was clearly a real talent in his youth, but perhaps nobody expected such a stunning and rapid rise. As McMillan alluded to, rankings are of little significance in the early stage of a career, but it is intriguing to see just how Alcaraz's status has changed over time. He was all the way down in 1,491st in the world back in 2018, and is now ranked higher than any other player in 2025. With a smile too big for his face and a forehand too wild for its own good. Reba remembers the Spanish court's inertia, dust rising from every slide, laughter echoing between points, and the young Alcaraz chasing down balls like a boy possessed. Back then, Reba thought the kid was talented, sure, but not yet extraordinary. What stood out most was his fearlessness, the way he swung as if every shot could change his life. Years later, watching Alcaraz in the professional arena, Reba couldn't help but shake his head in disbelief. The boy he once knew had transformed into a man whose every step on court seemed powered by destiny. It's dramatic, Reba admitted in a recent interview. He's not just improved, he's evolved. He's become something entirely different. It's not unusual for players to mature technically or physically. But what struck Reba was how holistic Alcaraz's transformation was. The once erratic forehand had turned into a cannon that combined Nadal's ferocity with Federer's grace. His movement, once raw, now flowed like poetry written in muscle memory. Even his mentality, once prone to youthful frustration, had hardened into something resembling ice under pressure. From Reba's vantage point, coaching Coco Gauff through her own journey to stardom, Alcaraz's evolution carried a lesson in patience and perspective. With Coco, we've always talked about growth, not just winning now, but building for 10 years from now, he said. When I look at Carlos, I see the reward of that kind of mindset. He didn't rush the process. He trusted it. Gauff and Alcaraz have shared parallel arcs in many ways. Both entered the sport as prodigies, carrying the burden of expectation before they were even old enough to rent a car. Both have been hailed as the future of tennis. And both have had to learn, painfully, that talent alone doesn't secure greatness. Reba remembers how Alcaraz, at 16, could get lost in his own ambition. He wanted to win every rally, break every record, prove every point. You could see the hunger, Reba said. But hunger without control, it burns you out. The dramatic change, he believes, came when Alcaraz learned to channel that hunger. He didn't try to conquer every match in one swing anymore. He learned when to attack, when to wait, when to breathe. That shift, mental composure married to explosive physicality, is what Reba hopes to instill in Gauff. Watching her train, he often invokes Alcaraz's name as an example of how maturity transforms talent into mastery. Carlos plays with joy now, Reba told her during one grueling practice session in Miami. He smiles, even in the hardest moments. That's not weakness. That's control. Indeed, Alcaraz's smile has become one of tennis's most iconic images, equal parts charm and challenge. To Reba, it's the mark of someone who's learned the game's secret truth, that pressure doesn't have to suffocate, it can inspire. He's seen Gauff adopt a similar ease recently, her laughter between points becoming as much a weapon as her serve. It's freedom, Reba explained. When you can enjoy even the fight, you've already won half the battle. Reba also can't ignore the physical evolution that's fueled Alcaraz's rise. The scrawny teenager he once knew now looks sculpted from clay and fire, a player capable of sliding from defense to offense in a heartbeat. His strength isn't just in his body, Reba noted. It's in how he uses it. Every muscle knows its purpose. That, too, is a lesson he's brought to Team Gauff. It's not about building a body that looks strong, it's about building one that plays strong, fluid, balanced, efficient. Yet what might impress Reba most isn't Alcaraz's athleticism or technique, it's his perspective. Despite fame, despite money, despite the expectations, Alcaraz still carries the same unfiltered joy he had as a kid on the clay courts of Murcia. He still plays like it's the first time, Reba said softly. That's rare. That's what keeps him dangerous. Coco, Reba believes, shares that spark. When she steps on court, she does so with the wide-eyed wonder of someone who loves the game, not the spotlight. You can see the connection, he said. It's why people believe in both of them. They remind us that tennis, at its core, is about joy. As Reba reflects on Alcaraz's journey, he can't help but see echoes of what lies ahead for Gauff. If you look at where Carlos was at 19, he had already won big titles, but his real transformation came after that, when he stopped chasing expectations and started owning his path. He explained. That's where Coco is now. She's